This video will provide a brief description of the jigsaw technique, a context in which it can be used, an example of its use, instructor and student responsibilities, and the limits and benefits of the technique. If we want our students to learn, to feel empowered, to stay engaged through a class, and to have practice honing the skills that are involved with presenting to other students, then the cooperative learning technique called Jigsaw is very useful. Barkley talks about the strategy description in general, and it could be described in 3 steps. First, students work in small groups to develop knowledge about a topic and to formulate ways in which they may teach this material to others. Second, these expert groups then break up, and the students form new groups made up of experts from other topics. Finally, the students teach one another about the topic they have researched in their original expert group. The context for the jigsaw would be one in which you have multiple students or multiple groups of students who need to cover material that is easily segmented into subtopics or concepts that each group can understand, digest, and then teach. The jigsaw can work for application, knowledge, or critical thinking type questions. For example, a case study could be given to the class in which a patient is diagnosed with some illness and a nurse has to consider what interventions he or she needs to implement. One group of students could be responsible for lab values. Another group could be responsible for medications. Another group for the pathophysiology of the disease, and yet another group for medical and nursing interventions. Each group will focus on their own topic, whether it be meds, lab work, assessments, interventions. And then, when they've finished doing their research as a group, when they've finished preparing how they're going to present it to the other groups, the groups divide and experts from each group mingle, form a new group, and share their knowledge. It is as if each individual from the original expert group is now a satellite and a spokesperson for the expert group, educating the other students. So in essence, after your expert groups break up, you've formed small teams that are expert teams for each area that needs to be covered within the case. Together, after sharing their knowledge and application, they can consider alternatives and decide upon a course of action for the case. The individuals then return to their original expert groups and debrief among themselves as to whether or not they had the right knowledge, the right depth of knowledge, if they communicated the knowledge in a satisfactory way, how their knowledge played out in the decisions made with the case. At this point, the instructor will facilitate a class reflection, a reflection on the overall jigsaw process as to how it helped groups and individuals understand the case and solve the case. The instructor has the following responsibilities within the jigsaw exercise. Number 1, the instructor must ensure that the concepts or topics are divisible and are divided into understandable, logical, and relevant chunks or components that each group can work on, understand, and teach within the time allowed. Second, the instructor needs to ensure that groups operate at an efficient level throughout the class. For example, group norms, classroom norms need to be clearly communicated and developed by the class before this exercise can ensue successfully. Third, the instructor is responsible for facilitating the class reflection and summary at the end of the exercise. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the instructor is responsible for ensuring that the students glean from the exercise the knowledge, application, or critical thinking skills that they need for their formal assessment in the course. The students need to be self-starters. Whether as a group or as individuals, they need to be able to conduct research effectively within a short period of time. They also need to possess communication skills, and perhaps this exercise will help them develop these skills, to consult as a group and then to deliver the group message to other people. They need to have the discipline to ensure that healthy group consultation ensues. And finally, they need to be able to take stock of the information that they need to learn, not only from their own expert group, but from presenters in the other expert groups. There are many variations of this jigsaw exercise. Aronson offers one where he speaks of a jigsaw exercise where instead of separate groups talking about different concepts, the members of one small group divide, and as individual people, they research one particular concept or topic and then come back together in that small little group, and each person shares the topic he or she researched. Some of the limitations of the jigsaw exercise include the following. First of all, time constraints. This can be a very timely exercise for the students to get into their groups, research the topic, figure out how they're going to teach, and then share among other groups. This can take a lot of time. One way to cut down on the time taken is for the instructor to plan ahead and have the students do a large portion of their research outside of class time. Another limitation or challenge of this exercise comes down to quality of information expressed. The students and the instructor, to a certain extent, are at the mercy of the quality that the group attains. If their information is short or lacking, that leaves a lot of legwork that the instructor has to do at the end of the exercise to ensure that the students have the information they need for their formal evaluations. Finally, do the students take each other seriously? Are they going to listen to each other? Are they going to take the information in a way that they're going to take it home and really try to learn what other students have taught them? So the credibility of a student as an instructor within a jigsaw exercise is in question. Solving this problem really comes down to how the exercise is set up by the instructor, and if the instructor makes a clear connection between what the students are learning and how they're going to be evaluated in the course. The benefits of the jigsaw technique include the following. It builds learning community in that it encourages interdependence as the students rely on one another to gain the information and communicate the information. Students are empowered, engaged, and galvanized to action. The rate of retention of the information is increased as the students talk more about the information and are able to interact in a more lively fashion with the knowledge. This technique will help students to develop communication skills as they have to learn how to work within a group and communicate information to others. Aronson also comments on how the exercise has helped decrease racial animosity or social tensions within high school environments. This video has discussed the cooperative learning technique known as the Jigsaw method. It has discussed the description, context, instruction of student responsibilities, limits and benefits of the technique. It is hoped that this technique will help liven your classroom and enable your students to better reach and achieve their course goals.